Good morning. Often branded antisocial and aggressive, teenagers in Britain have now been described as among the most badly behaved in Europe. According to a study by the Institute of Public Policy Research, the terrible reputation of the UK's teens is justified.
It comes as the very things designed to keep tearaways under control, ASBOs, are said to be failing. The Youth Justice Board said many young people see them as a badge of honour, not a punishment.
Well, in a moment, our North of England correspondent Catherine Marston reports on the problems with ASBOs. First, Breakfast's Keith Doyle looks at Britain's troubled teens.
We are a society which has come to fear gangs of young people, yobs and hoodies, according to this report, with good reason. While these young people are doing nothing worse than just hanging around, the study suggests the very fact that adolescents are just hanging around with each other is undermining family and community life. This has led to British teenagers being the most badly behaved in Europe. It found our 15-year-olds are drunk more often than any of our big European neighbours. They're more violent. 44% have been in a brawl in the last 12 months. And they're more promiscuous, with a bigger proportion having sex in their mid-teens.
Young people spend time with each other. They learn how to behave from each other. And they don't spend structured time with their parents or the wider adult world. The problem with that is it has effects. It damages their life chances. They're not making successful transitions into adult life.
You can talk to your friends about stuff that you can't really talk to your parents about.
Sometimes. I don't feel you really need to speak to your family that often unless you got family problems.
A lack of influence from adults is put down as one reason for bad behaviour. Even not sitting down to family meals is blamed. That might be one solution. All other attempts at combating the problem seem to have failed.
Back in 1999, ASBOs were heralded as the way to stop the kind of behaviour that can blight communities. But today's report says the orders have become a badge of honour for some young people who see them as glamorous and a way to boost street cred. ASBOs allow magistrates to impose conditions on someone's behaviour. Breaching an order can result in a prison sentence. But today's report raises concerns about their effectiveness. More than 7,000 ASBOs have been handed out since their introduction in 1999. 43% of them were issued to young people under 17. The latest figures from December 2003 show 40% of these ASBOs were breached. In almost half of these cases, the young people received an immediate custodial sentence, even though the original offence may not have warranted going to prison.
Here in Leeds, they've adopted what they describe as a mature approach to this issue. ASBOs are only being used when all other methods have failed, and that's what today's report is calling for. ASBOs only to be given in extreme cases. Catherine Marston, BBC News, Leeds.
We're sleepwalking into a surveillance society. That's the view of the Information Commissioner, Richard Thomas, with each of us caught on camera around 300 times every day. He's calling for a full and open debate on the issues that affect our privacy, such as CCTV and identity cards.
We all know that CCTV is everywhere. In fact, there are over 4 million cameras, one for every 13 people. On average, you're filmed 300 times a day. But what about your shopping habits?
Can I get this, please?
Well, they're often recorded too by the cards you use. And passengers in London are tracked by the new Oyster cards. These are all innocent uses of modern technology, but it means that much of what we do leaves what's being called an electronic footprint. The man whose job is to protect our personal information told me it's not that a surveillance society is coming. In many ways, it's already here. And he thinks we should be talking about the implications.
Almost everything we do these days, our activities, our movements, we leave an electronic footprint. We use the internet, there are cameras in the streets, every time we shop online, use our credit cards, use our mobile phones. We're leaving a record of what we've done and how we've done it.
But strangely, many people don't really seem to care.
I don't mind if I get watched and I don't do anything wrong, so I've got nothing to hide.
I don't think it's such a big deal. Really, you know, who wants to know anything about me?
Sometimes we don't even think about how we leave a trace. Every internet site you visit, for example, is quietly stored. And every time you make a mobile phone call, an electronic record is made of where you were at the time. A report today says that in 10 years' time, far more information will be kept. In the ID card system, for example. And pay-as-you-go road pricing could mean that everywhere you drive will be logged on a massive computer. Daniel Sandford, BBC News.
One of the police firearms officers who shot dead the innocent Brazilian Jean Charles de Menezes last year has shot another man dead during a police operation this week. The policeman is a member of Scotland Yard's specialist CO19 unit, which was deployed to a suspected armed robbery in New Romney in Kent on Tuesday night. The Independent Police Complaints Commission is investigating. A new computer keyboard developed by a London teaching hospital could reduce superbugs and save the NHS millions of pounds. The infection-resistant keyboard has been designed to combat superbugs like MRSA, which costs the NHS £1 billion a year. The device could cut infection rates by as much as 10%.
A post-mortem examination will be carried out today on a mother and her 4 daughters who were killed in a fire at their home in Lancashire. The woman's husband was rescued from the house in Accrington and is being treated for burns in hospital. The children who died were aged between 3 and 16. Police say the fire was started deliberately. They've launched a murder investigation. Let's get more from our correspondent Richard Wells. He's in Accrington. And what is the latest then, Richard, on that investigation?
Kate, the house behind me, the scene where the 4 girls and their mother died, already the subject of intense police investigation and also investigation by fire examiners. And what they have gleaned so far is that there were several seats of fire started with an accelerant somewhere in this house, and they believe that it was contained within the house, i.e. that somebody in the house actually started the fire. And the police want to, as a matter of top priority, their words, want to speak to 49-year-old Mohammed Riaz. Now, he's the father of the 4 girls. He's in a critical condition with severe burns in a hospital 30 miles away. The victims, the little girls, Sarah, Sophia, Alicia and Hannah, were described by local people as little angels, and their mother a pillar of the local community. But this is a tragedy that goes beyond just those 5 deaths, because they have a brother, Adam, who's 17, and he is suffering leukemia. He's tackling that disease and has been told today that his mother and his 4 sisters have died in this tragic fire.
Richard, thank you very much. Richard Wells there.
The Queen has pulled out of another public event which was due to take place today as she continues to suffer from a bad back. She was to carry out an investiture at Buckingham Palace. The engagement will be fulfilled instead by the Princess Royal. Last week, the Queen had to cancel a visit to Arsenal's Emirates Stadium because of her back trouble.
Now, while most children are enjoying train sets or computer games, perhaps Rafita Mirabal has an altogether more challenging hobby. The 9-year-old's believed to be the world's youngest bullfighter, taking on 400-pound bulls in stadiums across Mexico. Because of his age, only young bulls are used, but their horns are sharp enough to keep him occupied, we're told. At the end of the contest, the animals are allowed to live to fight another day.